Okay, I just want to capture again. You're looking at what is closed blinds, and it is 6:50 p.m. And the sunset is visible. What is that? 215 East C Street, the same facilitating venue where the Ontario Police Department were engaging in a kidnapping on June 16, 2021, and 2022, at 10:29, 10:30 in the morning. The light source is directly above my head and above those demons, heads of that Ontario Police Department. And the people of the state are engaging in what is criminal monitoring, literally on camera. You're looking at the criminal elements of monitoring. The entities engaging in the directed light behavior all over the entrance on the walls, while the Ontario police are engaging in what is harassment, while they are, again, hostile to the documentation that's being published systematically on a daily basis at the Ovid Family Community Library. And you have the people of the state engaging in what is the creation in real time of a false narrative in order to engage in obstruction of justice and harassment. And it resulted in what is a kidnapping. So I want to be clear, the same entity that's engaging in group stalking at Alvarado Gardens, and you're looking at this impossible light, which is not shared with any sunset that is as a matter of documentation, which is already part of the record, occurring at 215 East C Street, which is the prosecution of the state. And all of those officers of the Ontario Police Department who engaged in kidnapping, they're all going to federal prison via this evidence, because that's the direct evidence of what is the light source, the pattern of conduct, and the entity that was engaging in, and it's still engaging in criminal surveillance, is present under that light source. And that is speaking to the literally the audacity of a corrupt government to and threaten that target, threaten the ordinary target individual in such a way, and all the ways that I'm letting you know are occurring. And Ovid Family Community Library is nothing other than a facilitating venue. It's the same thing that Starbucks, the people of the state, engage in this pattern of conduct. While you're looking at the people of the state living at Alvarado Gardens, they are the same hostile, demon-possessed, psychotic, obsessed group stalkers that you also see reflected through the stalking behavior of the Los Angeles Police Department, who are stalking in this environment. The blinds are closed. And this is the window where you're looking out in this direction, and the entity is aiming the light source. And you have what is the sunset that's as a matter of documentation at 215 East C Street. And I'm going to upload that video so that you can see that sunset while I remain outside of the Ovid Family Community Library. And by virtue of that evidence, by the way, that is the prosecution also of the state of California, because there would never be any sun at one address at 8 o'clock in the morning at one address. And I'm also at that same address, and I'm looking at, and supposedly sunlight is covering all over, which is the result of a supposed sun that is still present setting at the same address. Both of this and that evidence is speaking to the prosecution of the state. I want to be clear, this is entirely unnatural. It's as unnatural as the light that you see appearing across my living room ceiling, as the light that you see appearing as you've seen it on my bedroom ceiling. And the entity is exhibiting its demon possession, just like you see the demons engage in what is using their children to engage in the pattern of conduct as I speak to you and I articulate the tactics of the demon-possessed population to keep you under surveillance, which is nothing other than crawling around in this engineered light, driving in this engineered light, flying around in this engineered light while they're keeping you under surveillance. And so the entity is engaging in the same conduct, which is intended to psychologically torture the ordinary target individual. None of it is naturally happening. None of it. So all I'm speaking to is what is the engineered environment, which is designed to harass you. And it's also a sex offense while I'm capturing that impossible light, which I'm going to juxtapose to the so-called sunset at Ovid Family Community Library, which I'm going to use to prosecute and put into federal prison for a prolonged term the entire Ontario Police Department who engaged in kidnapping and prolonged stalking in helicopters. That ongoing masquerading by a demon-possessed agency who was on the one hand arriving pursuant to criminal summoning and harassing you as though they have any lawful grounds, making up information, putting you in jail, and then kidnapping you, defaming you so that you are kidnapped at a mental facility. They did all of that. They're going to federal prison. In addition to that, you have what is still ceaselessly stalking in a helicopter day in and day out. While they were engaging in that, while they are psychopaths arriving like they learned something, like the Ovid Family Community Library told them something, or like Starbucks personnel actually told them, they were all monitoring together. And then they're stalking you day and night, following you from place to place in helicopter. It's the same police department. This is what LAPD is doing. They're flying over 15 to 20 times a day. And then you're looking at the light activity that surrounds me. There is no separation from those facts. So this is what I mean. When you're looking at demons such as Jung Pak of 1808 #1, this demon turns her back to me. And then you're looking at this impossible light activity inside of my apartment. The demons that are outside engaging in what is pacing around, Carmen Carreto and Marina Davila, demons who are determined to continue engaging in what is aerobics and engineered light, they're going to be determined to do their aerobic exercises in federal prison while you're looking at this engineered light inside of my apartment. Okay? It is never naturally happening. This is the intent to psychologically torture, an intent to harass as an entity, an intent to engage in what is terrorizing you, and constructive present by the state. It's a sex offense. The entity is maintaining that engineered light inside of the targeted individual's private space. You're going to be prosecuted as a sex offender. That's what a group stalker is, by the way. A group stalker, which those under the age of majority are going to be prosecuted as, they're engaging in open plain view a sex offense, that which is an act of terrorism by the government, very serious federal offenses, and the people of the state are just putting them right in front of the camera because the entity is engaged in Title 18 criminal activity, and they know that they're going to be documented. Nobody is under the impression that it's anything that's innocent. You're clearly engaged in group stalking, and everybody understands what group stalking is. That's why this is happening to me, so that the government and everyone else in the world knows exactly what is underway, and also knows the secrets of the demon-possessed population who are a threat to people who are a threat to American citizens in this country. And then you're looking at this light activity inside of my room. It's never naturally happening. So you're witnessing the demonic again. That's what you just saw. That was literally, you're witnessing the presence of the demonic when you're looking at the presence of that light. And it is foolishness. This foolishness, understand, it's not just about the fact that it is so foolish. It is very plain. It's going to be to the fact where the federal government will be able to streamline federal prosecutions. You're looking at that engineered light. You already know what this is. I mean, it's literally an admission. Okay, you already know what you're looking at. That's federal prosecution. A lot of people are going to suffer very severe consequences. And you're looking at the entity give me this documentation generously, willy-nilly, every single day. You're looking at them give it to me. To their own demise. Let me be clear. That is understanding obsession. The demon-possessed are wildly obsessed, okay? The demon-possessed are wildly obsessed, okay? They cannot help themselves. Hence, medical examinations, mental facilities. There is a knowledge of what is right and wrong. This is psychopathic conduct. You do not have to be a licensed mental health therapist in order to recognize this. And by the way, the so-called mental health professionals were engaged in the pattern of conduct. So I don't want to hear anything about people saying, oh, well, you don't have a license and you can. It says, yes, you can. It is on a surface level between what is right and wrong. This is something that you naturally know in your conscience. These police departments know that they have no constitutional basis to follow you around and stalk you and torture you by remaining by helicopter. They're literally arriving in a helicopter, flying over my head and flying around while I'm documenting the fact that police departments tend to engage in that behavior. That does not require any license in psychology in order to address that. Knowledge between what is right and wrong, and by the way, I'm also a legal professional. I have a Juris Doctor, and I understand what the definition of mental insanity is. This is not mental insanity. This is knowledge of what you are doing, which is wrong. This is why it's the secret society, because they know it's inappropriate. They know it's creepy and weird. They know that. And it's not supposed to be exposed. Okay. And also it's supposed to be a secret because it's literally the government. It's the government itself. And there's all sorts of conspiracy theories out there. None of it is supported by any evidence that it's this cult. It's these random people over there. Oh, it's the people that live in the mountains in Colorado. No, it's the state. It's the state. And the state uses the people. And it is demonic activity. And you're witnessing it while it's appearing on my walls. I'm going to use that to prosecute the Ontario Police Department. I'm going to use that to prosecute the Los Angeles Police Department. Everybody here is going to federal prison. And this is yet more documentation that's going against the people of the state who are acting with impunity, looking to the left and the right, while they are seriously showing what is nothing other than obsession, born of their mental issues, which is necessarily brought into question when you're prosecuting group stalking and monitoring, by the way. Okay, it is reasonable, and it is necessarily brought into question your mental state when you are exhibiting this level of obsession for no legitimate reason as a government and as the people of the state. That's why they are living at the crime scene. That's why they're looking to the left and the right while they're stalking you with audible activity. That's a psychopath. That's somebody that is, again, their whole facade has been blown up. Nobody's persuaded while the light source is hovering over the apartment from the beginning to the end of the day, and you think you can still engage in the pattern of conduct, creating any noise, any presence in the environment is monitoring, and nobody is disillusioned about that. Nobody's confused about that. Nobody is persuaded by what the entity does. And by the way, your cover is totally blown when the LAPD is engaging in what is plain stalking all day, all night, by the way. By the way, your whole facade is blown. So anyway, I just wanted to document that. That's the entity's engagement. What is a statement? That's a threat to your life. This is how you're understanding what the ordinary target individual is subject to. It is entirely unlawful. It's a prosecution for the sex offense. You saw Carmen Carreto exercising what is impunity. She's going to sit in federal prison for that. All right, Marina Davila, you do not have a right to engage in any activity creation on behalf of a corrupt government, and you're not doing it ignorantly. You're doing it boldly in the face of the target individual. All right, that's called impunity. You're going to be prosecuted for that. You're going to you're going to federal prison for living at a crime scene. That is patently absurd. Okay, with regard to thinking you will ever escape justice with that. No, the ordinary targeted individual will not be subject to such an unlawful threat posed by a government that acts through a demon-possessed population whose system is no longer a secret. It is currently 7 p.m. and you saw that impossible light activity in my apartment. I'm going to upload to the Compare the P.O.C. folder evidence of what was the light source well after 6 p.m. while I'm still at Ovid Family Community Library. I'm going to upload that, and I'm going to upload video where you can see the maintenance of the light source. If I didn't already, I will upload it. And what I was speaking to outside, my battery died, apologies. So I'm just going to include it in this video. The hillside. I was facing the hillside, and you're looking at the light source, which is supposedly setting, and then you're looking at this light activity here. But you saw the light source, which was in alignment, not to this direction where my apartment is from my leasing office. While I'm standing at my leasing office, I'm facing this direction, real-time movement of the light source. That speaks to what are demons that are surrounding you in your path, while the light source remains over you anywhere that you move, which is P.O.C., while demons are sitting in plain sight, providing evidence against themselves and everybody else, including the Ontario Police Department. The same entity that engaged in multiple acts of kidnapping and criminal defamation. Everybody engaged in that criminal act. Every hospital, I want to be clear, every police agency, every third party and state actor that engaged in making any statements to the state on video, monitoring with them, and while that entity was engaged in that act of criminal stuff, they're all going to federal prison. The pattern of conduct as it was underway, while you're looking at this evidence of what is not possibly created from any sunset, it would never happen under any circumstances. That's prosecuting the people that say who have already been documented. They're going to federal prison. And along the hillside, what I was speaking to was the light source is supposedly lowering down beneath the building while I was facing outside of my leasing office. And you're looking at along the hillside, the people of the state, they're covered in engineered light. The light source is going down behind the building of the apartment building of 1800 and 1802. And the hillside, that's at a lower elevation. Also, you also know that the sun is never going to be present for 11, 12 hours in a day. And also the evidence of what is the sun that's in an entirely different location. Under both circumstances, no sunlight is touching the hillside. But I just want you to look at that plain scene, which is what I was getting to before my battery died. And it's just placed light all over their property. Direct evidence against the people that say they're all going to be prosecuted for group stalking. Massive prosecution in this area. There is a radius of relevant positioning, and they're all going to be prosecuted for federal group stalking and monitoring. Okay? It is currently 7:03 p.m. and this is P.O.C.